Five, four, three, two, one.
Good morning. My name is Nick Pohl. I am the History Department Chair here in the Seacrest Upper School. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to a very special Veterans Day flag ceremony. I'd like to introduce Student Body President Johannes Lopez and Student Body Vice President Izzy Soderlund to raise the flags.
You can now join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I'd now like to introduce our band that is going to play the national anthem. We will now play the Seacrest song.
Sail the deep blue ocean in a ship made out of dreams. You can climb to the tide, a song so beautiful for everyone to sing. Just use your imagination and you can do anything if you be the best that you can be. Shine your light for the world to see. Oh, see, it's a magical journey. Just be the best that you, be the best that you can be. You can make a difference if you just believe you can. You can set a good example for every woman, child, and man. You can help to save our planet, save the water, save the trees. You're a person strong and loving, full of possibilities. If you be the best that you can be. Shine your light for the world to see. Oh, see us in some magical journey. Just be the best that you, be the best that you can be.
All right, today to be joined by several veterans who have served in past military efforts on behalf of our great country. And we want to take a minute to individually recognize each one of them.
Dwayne Broomfield, parent to Dorinka Broomfield, 2nd grade, United States Marine Corps. Dwight Dolezal, grandparent to Alexa Hicks, 4th grade, United States Army Special Forces. Richard Kershaw, grandparent to Katie, 5th grade, and Megan, 8th grade Kershaw, United States Army, served in Korea from 1968 to 1970 after the Koreans intercepted the USS Pueblo, a Navy intelligence vessel.
Jolo Grippo, he's a family member to a student. He served in the U.S. Marine Corps. He served from 2001 to 2005 as an infantry marine. He had 2 tours in Iraq for Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom and Global War on Terrorism. Chris Luce, he's a parent to Eliza Luce in 11th grade. He was in the United States Navy. He served in the Navy for 6 years from 1982 to 1988. He was stationed on the USS Henry Clay, a strategic nuclear deterrent submarine, and on the USS Enterprise, the Navy's first nuclear-powered ship. Bob McDonald, he's a grandparent to Maddie Miller in 6th grade. He served in the United States Army in Vietnam.
Diana Massin, parent to Alexander and Gabriel in pre-K, and Isabella Massin Reed in 4th grade, Lieutenant Commander in the United States Navy, started career at the Uniformed Services, University of Medicine, serving as a Surgeon General Representative. Jason Reed, parent to Alexander and Gabriel in pre-K, and Isabella Massin Reed in 4th grade, United States Army as an ammunition specialist from 1992 to 1994, and United States Navy as a corpsman from 1994 to 1996. Barry O'Connell, grandparent to Liam O'Connell, 3rd grade, United States Air Force.
Amia Meekel's dad, Howard Meekel, U.S. Navy. Rick O'Connor, grandparent to Cece and Lincoln Carlson, United States Marine Corps, served in Vietnam 1969 to 1971. George friend of the State University in the 50s with 2 years in the Basic Reserve Officer Training Corps, Service Commission, a 2nd lieutenant, and a final rank as captain. Robertson, friend of the Edwards family, United States Navy.
Kyle Weaver, parent to Noah Preschool and Leah 3rd grade, United States Marine Corps, served 7 years. Hans Milker, Seacrest athletic trainer, United States Navy, served 4 years as an avionic technician for the FA-18 Hornet fighter jet. Lisa McLaughlin, Seacrest physics and engineering teacher, United States Navy, served 4 years as an engineer and a shipboard sailor, graduated from the United States Naval Academy.
The history behind Veterans Day comes to us just over 100 years ago. As World War I came to a close on November 11th at 11 a.m., the war that was supposed to be the war that ended all wars came to a close. However, we now know that that was not the case, and wars have since commenced. In November of 1919, President Wilson proclaimed November 11th as the first commemoration of Armistice Day with the following words: "To us in America, the reflections of Armistice Day will be filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory, both because of the things from which it has freed us and because of the opportunity it has given America to show her sympathy with peace and justice in the councils of the nations." A few years later, in 1926, an initial resolution was filed by Congress as a day to remember, give thanks, have parades and activities that promote peace, accompanied with a brief pause of business and school at 11 a.m. In 1938, an act of Congress formalized the day to make it a national holiday. Later, in 1954, at the urging of veterans organizations after World War II and the Korean War, Congress amended the act to change the name to Veterans Day, to honor all those who served our country, both living and deceased. I'd like to introduce Jim Flanagan, a member of our history department, with another story.
Thank you, Nick. When I was first asked to make some remarks about our Veterans Day celebration, I balked a little bit. I'm humbled to be in the presence of individuals who have given so much for the country. And I think about the few days that I spent at Fort Bragg almost 40 years ago. It's more like a youthful adventure than any kind of real service or the subject of a serious narrative. I think the one great accomplishment that I have is that I have something in my pocket that Rob Gronkowski can never have. And that's my USAA membership card. If you laughed, you love football. If you didn't, you should watch a game now and then. But seriously, the more I thought about this opportunity to address all of you here today, the more I realized I really wanted to say thank you to all the people who could not be here. Anniversary, the D-Day landings. It's an incredible experience for everyone. I remember being at American Rangers, climbed a sheer 100 cliffs up the German fire to take. I couldn't believe that human beings could actually do such an event. We stood in a crater, a 16-inch gun shell, which we could put our entire group. And even after 75 years, it was still deep enough for all to stand there. But the most moving part at Col-de-sur-Mer, and this is where the American Cemetery stands. We watched President Trump arrive by helicopter. We watched President Musk also arrive by helicopter. We listened to both of them to very sincere and very respectful speeches. But it was in the silence that followed where you could really fully feel the immensity of the sacrifice that was made there. And as I walked the grounds, I kept hearing in my head the words of that great Irish poet who wrote in the green fields of France. Crosses and mute witness stand to man's blind indifference to his fellow man. But the more I thought about the words, the more I realized there wasn't indifference there. There was love. I wanted to share with everyone today. That love's not a feeling, it's an action. And that action involves sacrifice. The other. It needs to fighting an injustice. And that's what I saw at Col-de-sur-Mer. The virtuous act of an entire generation that loved country, that loved freedom, that loved the men who fought next to them, that loved the children they would never see. And I was overwhelmed by it. I thought about my great uncle Hubert, who fought in that conflict. Uncle Hubert was born in rural Georgia in 1898, where a lot of occupations open to people back then. He was my grandfather's older brother. When World War I broke out, Hubert was one of the first in Cobb County to jump up and join. He went overseas, whipped the Kaiser, came back home, got married to raise a family, you know. And you would think that that would be enough adventure in one lifetime for a gentleman, okay? But his story didn't end there. In December of 1941, Uncle Hubert was working as a boiler fireman in New York City for the Brooklyn Union Gas Company. Yet when he heard the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor, at 42 years of age, he walked down the street and enlisted in the United States Navy. And he served the Navy for the entire war in the Pacific. I don't know a lot of people who fought in the First World War and then fought again in the Second World War. I'm very grateful that he managed to come home in one piece and live on until 1974, when he passed away very peacefully. But that wasn't the end of the story. Because when Uncle Hubert jumped up, his nephew, Little Hubert, who was named after him, was not to be outdone. And so my cousin went off and joined the United States Army. He was with the Americans when they landed in North Africa. He fought across the desert with them, landed in Sicily, was in Italy, and part of the troops that landed behind the German lines at Anzio. And it was there that his luck ran out. Crossing one of the nameless little rivers that were crisscrossing the entire Italian countryside there, and he was hit and severely wounded. But even so, he managed to keep up covering fire so the rest of his unit could cross the river and wimple the Germans out of their position. He was decorated for that action and for others in the Mediterranean, including receiving the French Medal of Freedom, but he lost his leg and was invalided back home. For him, the war was over, but his sacrifice is a testament to the love he had for this country and for his fellow soldiers. My family's fought in almost every war this nation has engaged in, from the Revolution to the Middle East. And now, at the end here, I would like to remember my niece's husband, David Collins. David deployed twice to Iraq. And it was on his second tour that his patrol was ambushed. And he wound up too close to an IED when it exploded. He was one of those who made the ultimate sacrifice. So I stand here before you today, and I'd like to ask everybody present to please stand for a moment of silence to thank all of those who are not able to be here for the gifts that they have left us. Thank you. Let me leave you with a few lines from one of my favorite poems from Kipling. The tumult and the shouting dies, the captains and the kings depart. Still stands thine ancient sacrifice, and humble and a contrite heart. Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget. Lest we forget. Thank you.
Recognize Lisa for the pause circumstance.
Thank you, Mr. Flanagan. There are many ways for us to continue to support our veterans after their return. The local American Legion and Veterans of Foreign Wars units provide support for our veterans, especially those in need. The Wounded Warrior Project works to provide support and resources to those veterans while in service. The Honor Flight of Collier County transports our elderly veterans with a trip to Washington, D.C. to visit the monuments and memorials dedicated to their service. And finally, we are honored today to be joined by Lisa Quetty, the stepmother of sophomore Nicole Paul. Lisa is involved with PAWS Service Dogs for Vets, and she is joined today by her foster in training, Harley. Golden Paws Assistance Dogs was founded in 2012 as a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization. And they provide highly skilled service or assistance dogs to combat wounded veterans and children with life-changing disabilities. Golden Paws is proud to say that their dogs are always placed at no cost to those they serve. So we just one more opportunity for us to say thank you for as a way to support them, a fine young golden retriever pup. You will now have a patriotic song.
Open up my eyes, it's another peaceful morning, and the breeze is gently blowing in the trees. Look up into the sky, knowing someone is watching for me. It's the man and woman who serve us faithfully. If there ever comes a day that I would have to leave, I hope that he's the hero that you have been for me, that I would risk my life to keep our country free. That you've been willing to give your life for me. Over the hills and plains, you are found in every corner, from the shining city to the countryside. You have sacrificed yourselves with grace and honor, and it fills my heart with thankfulness. life for your friends. We appreciate each and every one of you, and our gratitude will never end. That I would risk my life to keep our country free. The way that you've been willing to give your life for me. The way that you've been willing to give your life for me.
How about one more round of applause for our third grade and for soloist Liam Weaver. That was great. I want to thank again all of our veterans that are here today. I want to thank Lisa for bringing Harley to join us, and just for the reminder of how thankful we all could be together to have you all here to join us, so that we could celebrate you and be thankful for you. Just a few announcements really quick. Some upcoming things that we've got on the Seacrest calendar to be excited about right now is the canned food drive for St. Matthew's House. That canned food drive is going until Monday, November 29th. You may bring in food to the front office. There are bins in the lower school gym at drop-off. There are bins in the upper school common room. Please check around your pantry, see if you've got something to spare to benefit our neighbors. The fall play is next week, November 17th and 18th at 6:30 in the lower school gym, The Odd Couple. It is Middle School Challenge Day next Friday, November 19th. I imagine middle school is getting excited for that. And last and certainly not least, but most excitedly, we have the state semifinals girls volleyball match here on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Our girls have made it to the Final Four in the entire state for 2A, and they will be hosting Oak Hall from Gainesville. There will be a tailgate again, probably beginning around noon, with the game set to start at 2. Make sure you show up in all of your Seacrest attire. It is going to be a great game. With that, I hand it over to Mr. Caruso.
A few words, and I hope you walk away with some things to think about for the rest of the day and moving forward. Mr. Pohl, Mr. Flanagan, the third grade, the band, our special guests, thank you for being here, and thank you for being a part of today. We're going to hear the word hero and heroism quite a bit. We heard about it and heard the word used this morning, and we'll hear about it throughout the day. What I ask everyone right now is to sort of think about what that word means. Hero. The definition, the true definition, is a person who is admired for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Hearing that definition, and if we all acknowledge it, I believe it allows me to call into question who we now award hero status to. Someone admired for their courage, we can eliminate from a list of heroes most of the athletes making millions. While they're certainly gifted athletes, they're just hitting three-pointers, scoring touchdowns and goals. Musicians, making music is an art, some better than others. Frank Sinatra or Kid Rock, whatever your preference is, it's not courageous. The second part of the definition, outstanding achievements, World Series rings, winning the Super Bowl, golden records, Grammy Awards, impressive and deserved accolades. I prefer to point to achievements that were selfless, with the intent to help others and keep us safe with no expectations of anything in return. Noble qualities? Again, many of the heroes of today's standard don't fit that true definition. They are in the news for things that are less than noble. Characteristics of a noble person is selflessness, an individual who stands up for what is right and just and holds that importance of integrity without fail, regardless of the situation. As we celebrate and thank and mourn the men and women of our armed forces, I ask you to first look there, to that elite and special group of Americans who have served to find your hero. He or she might be one you researched in history class. It might be Mr. Flanagan's nephew. They might be a special guest with us today. On behalf of the Seacrest Country Day School, thank you for your service and commitment to our country.